All right, guys, we're getting ready to put dinner together tonight. Here is what we've got going on. I had decided that I wanted a recipe that I've had for many years. It's called creamy beef fajitas, I think, or cheesy beef fajitas. I don't know. So you do a round steak, peppers and onions, and then you do some Velveeta, and it's all together, and you put it in your tortillas. Well, we went to Mexican yesterday, and now we don't want fajitas, but I need to use this meat, and I need to use my green pepper. It's already getting kind of soft. So I thought, okay, what can I make? So I decided on like steak tips, beef tips with gravy over mashed potatoes. James actually mentioned he thought mashed potatoes sounded good in the next few days. So here are the potatoes. This is all we have left from our garden. So I am going to boil those and make mashed potatoes, and then I'm going to serve it with this, with the beef tips. So I'm going to use the Cavender's and the onion salt. I'm going to season this up, fry it in my iron skillet. When it's almost done, I'll add in the peppers and onions, which I'll have cut into slices. When that's all done, I'll make this separately and pour over the top and let it simmer. And then we will serve that over top of the potatoes. So that's what we're going to get going on, and I'll bring you along. Happy New Year, everyone. This is getting ready to go in the oven here at our house. I don't always cook on New Year's Day. We don't have a tradition of, pork and sauerkraut or black-eyed peas or cabbage, corned beef. We just kind of do whatever happens that day. Just depends. So today we had planned on just being at home, and James was wanting a specific meal. It's a meal that I had growing up, and I make every now and then, that he just loves so much. So I'm going to show you that today, but we're going to start off here with this pork shoulder, pork butt. I should have showed you as I was seasoning this up, but I just wasn't thinking about that. So I put a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of yellow mustard, Trader Joe's onion salt, and there's my oven going off, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and then I rubbed that all around on it, and then I sprinkled brown sugar on the top and rubbed that on as well. So we're going to put this in the oven for about 3 hours on 350. So that's our pork roast getting ready to go in. To my green beans, I've added some fried onions, some of the French fried onions, and then you can see in my spoon there I have some chicken bouillon, and then I am heating up my bacon grease in my cornbread skillet, and in goes the cornbread. I also put some of those French fried onions in my cornbread mix. That was really good. Next we have carrots. These are from our garden. I had frozen a gallon-sized bag of carrots already prepped and ready, and so those are in my new Pampered Chef, I think it's called a rock crock. This is a really cool dish. I got this from my son and his wife for Christmas, and so I just added in some maple syrup for maple glazed carrots. I'm going to add in a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and those are going to go in the oven to just do their thing. Taking a look at the progress on the pork roast. The cornbread's out of the oven, and those French fried onions in there was just a little subtle flavor. I enjoyed it. The pasta is all cooked up for mac and cheese. The sauerkraut is simmering in the back, and then I've added some potatoes into my green beans, and they are cooking away. Here is my process with my cornbread. I use my same skillet over and over. The cornbread pops out just as easy as can be. And then I flip it over because I think that side looks pretty on the top. Here we go, mac and cheese pulled together, some extra cheese on the top, and that's going back in the oven. We're just checking our internal temperature on our pork here, and it's going to go back in for just a little while longer. First off, I am going to remove the drippings that has cooked off the pork. That's going to be used to make my gravy. We've got a little roux going on here. We just melted a little bit of butter, added some flour. We're putting in some seasonings now. We're just going to let that cook just a bit. That's going to be the thickening agent for our gravy. And I'm going to add just a little broth here to kind of continue to break down and cook the flour with a little bit of a paste of sorts to kind of get that gravy base going. continuing on with the gravy, I am now adding in my evaporated milk. I mentioned at the beginning of this is a meal that my mom made when I was growing up, and she taught me how to make this, and so I make it as she made it. So she uses evaporated milk just about for any gravy that she makes, including sausage gravy to go over biscuits. I like to keep evaporated milk in my pantry for just these reasons. I enjoy that flavor. I grew up on it. It tastes delicious to me. James loves it as well. And so you're going to see me here adding a little bit of water. I don't want my gravy to be too thick. So the water helps to just kind of keep it that nice gravy consistency. And I'm tasting it here to make sure everything is balanced out, which it is. So delicious so far. Next, I am adding in some potatoes and carrots. These are potatoes for my green beans, the carrots that I've been baking in the oven. I'm going to smash these down to just where they're kind of chunky, and that's going to go into the gravy. Now, I understand this is probably something different. Maybe you haven't seen a recipe quite like this. I've never had one like this before or after. I don't know where my mom actually even found this recipe, or maybe she came up with it her own self, but this actually makes a vegetable gravy of sorts that can be served over your meat or alongside your meat. The way we like to have it is over our cornbread. So it kind of like a gravy on top of your cornbread and meat. That's what that is. So here we have it all spread out on the counter. This turned out to be such a delicious first day of the year meal. We absolutely loved it. Our son Gunnar and his wife Abigail and our grandson Fisher were here. It was just a great way to start off this year. There's a look at my plate. We are blessed. We had a wonderful meal and a great day. All right, guys. How many of you know what we are making just by looking at these ingredients? Most of you probably do, but just in case, this is a sandwich that is new to you. Let's talk about a Cuban. This is basically, I think, my favorite sandwich, especially at a restaurant, I would say. Like if I had a choice, I would probably choose a Cuban. Now around here, we don't have many places that offer it, but my favorite is from the Cheesecake Factory. So you start off with pork. So this is pulled pork. This is from the big pork shoulder we made the other day, New Year's Day. It also takes ham. So this is just some deli Black Forest ham. It takes Swiss cheese, mustard, and pickle. Now, I'm going to put mayonnaise on there and actually kind of put these together for like a little bit of a softer take on the mustard, because that's just my preference. And then it's like usually a very like sturdy, chewy type bread, so like a ciabatta usually, I think. But these are just some really nice deli rolls. I'm going to slice those open, butter those. I'm going to pan sear those for a few minutes, make the sandwich, and then I'm going to heat on the outsides as well on the bun. So I am going to put this together, and I think it's going to be delicious. We're excited about having this tonight, and this is a way to use leftovers with the pulled pork. So I'm going to show you as I go along. 3 words to describe this sandwich. Oh my goodness. This was so good. This was as good as anything I've ever had in a restaurant. We will be having this one very often. So good. Alright guys, I am making a soup today that I first saw on and have only seen on Moss Family TV. Fallon makes this soup. It kind of sounded interesting and I thought we would give it a shot. I've seen her make this for as long as I've been watching their channel, which has been well over a year. And it's lima bean soup, and it's basically ground beef, lima beans, and I think she uses tomato soup. So it's basically like a vegetable soup in a way, but nothing but lima beans, I think. So we're just going to give this a shot. It's kind of a dreary day outside today. It's a Saturday. And I thought this kind of sounded good. So my ground beef and onions are browned up together. I'm going to drain that and add in the lima beans. And I'm going to use tomato juice because that's what I have and I need to use. That's kind of what inspired me to make this. I was like, I need to use that. So I would do chili or a vegetable soup. So I thought, you know what? Let's try the lima bean soup. Why not? So I will show you this as it comes along. All right, this is what I have. The 100% tomato juice. It's a 46 ounce and there's just been a little bit taken out of the top. And so I'm going to add that in to my meat and onions. Now, if you've never used tomato juice like this, it's pretty salty. So this is definitely not going to need any salt by the time this is said and done. Pretty sure about that. I think I may add a few dry seasonings. I'm going to look in my pantry and see here what might sound good. And of course I need to add in the lima beans. Right. I'm looking through my spices here. I think I'm going to add a little bit of this hot paprika. And what's that? Cilantro leaves. I don't want to add that. I don't think I want any chunky anything in there. I already have some onion. I love this stuff from Trader Joe's. I'm gonna definitely add in a little bit of that. And how about this? Yes, so these two along with this hot paprika. Isn't this the cutest little canister? It's a little metal can. All right, I'm gonna add those in. There we have it, about a half a teaspoon of the onion salt. Like I said, the tomato juice is already pretty salty, so I didn't need much of that, but just a little for flavor. And then about a teaspoon of the paprika and about a teaspoon of the garlic powder. Okay, haven't added in the lima beans yet, but I did taste it for seasoning, and it is a little bit salty, not too bad. It's actually okay, but it's a good thing for tomato product to add in a little bit of sugar. This is about, maybe not quite a teaspoon. That helps cut the acidity from the tomatoes. And so it kind of helps with heartburn or anything that you might suffer from having a strong acidity level that comes from tomatoes. That does kind of affect me. So let's go ahead and just sprinkle in a little bit of the sugar. And then I'm also going to add just a little bit of black pepper. All right, and black pepper going in. That is plenty. And I'm gonna run out to my barn where my deep freeze is and get my bag of lima beans. I'll be right back. Got my bag of baby lima beans here, and I'm getting ready to pour those in. This is a 12-ounce bag. By the way, I tasted it after I added in the sugar, and it just tastes perfect. Really good seasoning. I think we're gonna like this. I mean, we like everything that's in it, but I usually make a vegetable soup with like a beef roast, and I shred it, and then, you know, like all the vegetables that you can put in there. And I would normally not put this much meat per everything else. You know, it's like heavier on the meat than really much of anything else, but there's nothing else in it besides the lima beans. So I thought, okay, let's just make this meaty. And I could have added double the beans, but I tell you, I've gone from 3 sons in the house to my husband and myself. Our twin sons have been married. They had their 5th anniversary recently, and our youngest son has been married almost 2 years. And I just still feel like I cook way too much than what we need. We love leftovers, so that works out okay, but I'm just trying to scale back. So I just added the 1 can of lima beans. Now I'm just gonna let this simmer on low, probably at least an hour to maybe 2 hours, or I may turn it off before then until we're ready to eat dinner. So that's gonna be a little while. And so, yeah, this is looking good, and it tasted really good. The portion that I had ready that I sampled tasted great. So I'm sure the lima beans will make it taste even better. Right, and here is a look at the lima bean soup. I have it in my bowl here. It's been simmering on the stove for almost 3 hours at a very, very, very low flame. And so the lima beans are tender, and yeah, we're excited to eat this. Sounds so good. I'm sure it will be. And so that's what we're having on this dreary Saturday, lima bean soup. I thought I'd throw in this shot of the leftovers that we had the next night. I've got up my little buffalo check mug. We had lima bean soup for leftovers, and a half of a grilled ham and Swiss cheese sandwich and some mozzarella cheese sticks. That was the leftovers for the next night. So, so good. Thank you so much for watching this What's for Dinner video. Every time you come back and watch a video, it makes me so, so happy. If you haven't subscribed, hit that red subscribe button. We'd love to have you around here. Thanks again, guys. All right, guys. How many of you know what we are making just by looking at these ingredients? Most of you probably do, but just in case this is a sandwich that is new to you, let's talk about a Reuben. Let's not talk about a Reuben. Let's talk about a Cuban.